With the final NBA draft of the 2010s coming up tomorrow, I thought it would be fun to take a look back at the decade as a whole. Every year, 60 players get drafted, so obviously there's always a wide variety of talent included in those polls, but some are obviously better as a whole than others. For today's video, we will be putting these draft classes up against each other from the year 2010 through 2018 and ranking them from best to worst. The 2019 class is obviously excluded because, well, they haven't even been drafted yet, nor have they played a single NBA game yet. Before we start though, make sure to subscribe to the channel as all support is very much appreciated. Now, with that being said, let's begin. Starting off with the very best class of the decade, the top spot on this list goes to the year 2011, which was absolutely loaded with star talent. Starting with the number 1 pick that year, Kyrie Irving has been an NBA champion and one of the most electrifying players in the league for a while also being one of the best players at his position, with handles like we've never seen before. Continuing through the first round, we come across Kemba Walker, who has developed into a multiple-time All-Star, and none other than this year's Finals MVP, Kawhi Leonard, who at this point is basically an undisputed top 3 player in the league. Now, if you thought the star power from this class ended there, then you'd be dead wrong, because throughout the rest of the draft, there were actually 4 other All-Stars, being Jimmy Butler, Klay Thompson, Nikola Vucevic, and Isaiah Thomas. Plus 2 other players that have developed into very good players without All-Star appearances from this class are Tobias Harris and Bojan Bogdanovic. So to sum things up, this draft had star talent galore and easily slotted into the top spot on this list. Next up at number 2 on this list is the class of 2012, which I was really considering putting at number 1, but ultimately settled with them at 2. Again, the number 1 pick was a major hit, which is always important in my eyes, being the newest Laker Anthony Davis. Davis has Hall of Famer potential, and alongside LeBron now, is in for some big things. Then, a few picks later came Bradley Beal and Damian Lillard, who are 2 of the best players currently at their positions as well. Lillard notably hit that insane 40-foot series-winning shot against the Thunder this postseason, and Beal has been a very good sidekick to John Wall through the years and is finally starting to step out of his shadow. Additionally, Draymond Green was a diamond in the rough in the second round, having won a Defensive Player of the Year and always has been the pillar of the Warriors dynasty. Additionally, some of the other top talent includes Chris Middleton, Andre Drummond, Harrison Barnes, Jay Crowder, and Evan Fournier, making it not only very good at the top, but also really deep. Up next at number 3 on this list is the class of 2010, the year that started off the decade with a nice influx of talent. The decade really started off incredibly strong, with this making the first 3 years of the decade rounding out the top 3 on this list. Again, the number 1 pick was a hit, which always helps, being John Wall, who before he suffered his injuries was one of the 5 best point guards in the league, and one of the best players capable of putting up 20 points and 10 assists on a nightly basis. Along with Wall, there was also quite a few other star players selected, including DeMarcus Cousins, Gordon Hayward, and Paul George. Boogie in his Kings days and Pelicans days put up monster numbers on the offensive end of the floor and made numerous All-Star games. Paul George was in the MVP race this season with his terrific play on both ends of the floor, and Gordon Hayward was looking like someone who would become a consistent All-Star before his injury as well. Along with those big names, this draft also featured some solid role players, such as Eric Bledsoe, Derek Favors, Avery Bradley, and Al-Farouq Aminu. Next up at number 4 on this list is the class of 2014. The 2 best players from this draft just so happen to be the current 2 best centers in the league at the moment, being Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic, which is pretty strong top of the talent pool from this class. Then there's Gary Harris, Julius Randle, Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon, Marcus Smart, and Clint Capella, who are all very good players right now and all seem to be trending upward. After that though, there's some disappointment that holds it back from being higher on the list. Starting at the very top, the two picks were Andrew Wiggins and Jabari Parker, who have both fell off pretty hard for different reasons. Parker looked like someone who could be a star, but after suffering 2 ACL tears, his career just hasn't been the same, which is pretty unfortunate. Wiggins, on the other hand, just seems lazy out there, and is one of the least efficient scorers and worst defenders in the league. Despite them though, this class is very solid. Next up at number 5 on this list is the class of 2017, which is one of the more recent ones, but it's already looking like countless players are on track for great careers. Unlike the other drafts I've discussed though, the top pick was a big miss, being Markelle Fultz. No one truly knows what's going on with him, and I suppose he could still turn it around, but for now he's not why this class is so good. Because of their youth, a lot of it is projection, but based on their play so far, I feel pretty confident in calling De'Aaron Fox, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, and John Collins future all-star players. Mitchell has already proven he's capable of handling a big scoring load on offense as a go-to guy. Tatum's set to take over the Celtics team, with Kyrie likely on his way out. Collins was almost a 20-10 guy as a second-year player, and Fox took a big step forward last year as a point guard, playmaking at a high level with tremendous speed. Along with them are players like Lauri Markkanen, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Jarrett Allen, and Dennis Smith Jr., who have all shown themselves to be capable of being highly productive players, and only time will tell how good this draft truly is, but for now, it's a tier below the others that are on this list. Up next at number 6 on this list is the class of 2016. This class in general gets pretty underrated by the general public, but over the past few years it's proven to have a pretty good combination of future stars and solid role players. Up at the top with the first pick was Ben Simmons, who in his second season was named an all-star because of his elite playmaking ability, and also looks well underway to becoming an all-defense caliber talent. After him, the next two picks were Brandon Ingram and Jaylen Brown, who are both still fairly early in their development, but are both nice two-way players that could become big time down the road. Buddy Hield and Jamal Murray got picked a few spots later, and both experienced quite a big breakout this season, with Buddy averaging a highly efficient 20 points per game, and Murray playing a big role as a shot creator in Denver's postseason run. Along with them, some other nice pieces from this class include Taurean Prince, Karis LeVert, and Pascal Siakam, who is more than likely going to take home this year's Most Improved Player award. This class may not be star-studded, but it has a nice balance good enough to put them in the middle of the pack on this list. Next up at number 7 on this list is the class of 2018, which was last year's draft. This class is probably the toughest to judge on this list because the players have only played one season, and it's far too early to judge some of the players. A few have already shown the ability to become stars in this league, such as Luka Doncic and Trae Young, while many others look like very good NBA players in the making, such as DeAndre Ayton, Marvin Bagley, Jaren Jackson, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Wendell Carter. Also, while those are the names of guys sticking out right now, who knows? Maybe somewhere down the line several other guys from the draft will break out. The unknown with this is why I couldn't put them any higher than this spot, but also not any lower because the next couple drafts are, in my opinion, deservedly near the bottom. Coming in as the second worst draft class of the decade, we have the class of 2015, which I was very close to putting at the bottom. It starts well at the top with Karl Towns, D'Angelo Russell, and Kristaps Porzingis being 3 of the first 4 picks, and then Devin Booker was picked in the middle of the first round, but outside of that, there's a ton of unfulfilled potential and lack of production. The only other names that even really deserve a shout out for their play are Miles Turner, Justice Winslow, Kevon Looney, and Terry Rozier. The star power is nowhere close to that of other draft classes, and there are a lot more players completely out of rotations than there should be. That brings us to the final draft class on this list, and the worst draft of the decade award goes to the year 2013, which was a total mess in so many ways. To start, Anthony Bennett was the top pick, and he's possibly the biggest bust we've ever seen. The notable names from this draft are Victor Oladipo, CJ McCollum, and potential MVP winner this year Giannis Antetokounmpo, but not even an MVP winner can save the disaster that this draft was. There wasn't really a single hidden gem in the class. The second round produced a ton of nobodies, and a lot of the players that had the most hype did nothing with it, including Nerlens Noel, Ben McLemore, Cody Zeller, Trey Burke, and Michael Carter-Williams, who actually won Rookie of the Year and immediately began to fall off. There's a lot more bad than good here, and because of it, they are the worst draft of the decade. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for daily NBA content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.